These highlights are brought to you by Lynch Homes, building homes of distinction.
Today we're at Melrose for part 2 of the epic clash between Melrose and Ayr. Last week, Ayr lifted the Premier Cup at Murrayfield. Today, we're at the Greenyards, and if Melrose win, they are Scottish club champions. They'll lift Premier 1. But if Ayr win, they go to next week and they can win the title. I tell you, the atmosphere around here is electric. This is going to be some game of rugby this afternoon. Scott White leading out a Melrose side who know exactly what they've got to do to win the title. But early on, looking just a wee bit nervous. Andy Dunlop, AJ McFarlane, Grant Anderson chipping ahead, and the race is on. Fraser Thompson collecting it, juggling it a wee bit, charged down by Anderson. Robbie Colquhoun in pursuit, but the ball just going dead. 5 minutes later, Ayr keeping up the pressure, taken on by Paul Burke, snagged by Callum Anderson there, but ball coming back on the Ayr side. Only a couple of metres short, and a couple of metres short is not where you can stop Damien Kelly. The Ayr skipper over for a carbon copy of the try he scored in the cup final last week. Ayr 5, Melrose 0. 6 minutes gone. Not an easy conversion for Ross Currow, but straight through the post. Just the start that Ayr wanted. 3 minutes later, Melrose hitting back. Graham Dodds up towards the 22. Melrose arriving in numbers. Rob Christie, Scott White, John Dalziel in midfield. Cutting inside, but taken down there. And Ayr penalised, and it looks like it was for guddling on the ground. Scott White, well within his range, but oh my goodness, that one looked as though it was in life support, the way it wobbled over the bar. 3 points on the board for Melrose. Hungry for more. Inside the Ayr half, Rob Christie laying it back there. John Dalziel out to Scott White. Crossfield kick there, straight to Stephen Manning, off his shoulder, and that was an instinctive reaction by Mark Stewart, and you know that he knew he was offside. Unlucky, but luck was with Scott White. The ball coming off the post the right way, and Melrose back to within a point of Ayr. White again, out to Callum Anderson, off his left foot, cutting inside. Over the 10-metre line, stopped there by Mark Stewart. Well, back on the Melrose side. Referee Graham Knox has spotted the penalty. And the chance for White to put Melrose in the lead for the first time. This time it doesn't wobble, doesn't hit a post, it's straight through the middle. 9-7 Melrose after 17 minutes. Melrose playing a lot of their rugby quite a bit away from the Ayr try line. Cammy Murray hauled down there, and a wee bit of a fumble, but referee Graham Knox spotting another Ayr offence. Offside this time. Thank you very much to Scott White. 12 points to 7. And the Melrose side of the scoreboard creeping up there. John Dalziel stepping out of the tackle, running into Mark Stewart. Rob Christie out to White. White inside to Callum Anderson, bouncing off a couple of tackles. Oh, he got the try line in his sight there, but AJ McFarlane bouncing off him and straight into Mark Stewart again. The big Ayr centre putting in a couple of serious tackles there. And Cammy Murray chipping that one through, and Grant Anderson playing a bit of football and putting the ball out to safety. Half-time, Melrose 12, Ayr 7.
Scrum Magazine. Subscribe online at scrummagazine.com.
These highlights are brought to you by Lynch Homes, building homes of distinction.
Into the second half, and Ayr deep inside Melrose territory. Glenn Tippett, AJ McFarlane taking on the whole of the Melrose defence practically there. Andy Kelly Charging around the fringe there. Graham Knox having a good look at that. Finally taken on by Glenn Tippett, but penalty Ayr. AJ McFarlane, quick one. Andy Dunlop over the 5 metre line. McFarlane again up to the Melrose line. The defence holding, but big man lurking at the back there, and it would be easier to stop a tank than Damien Kelly from that distance. Try number 2, Ayr level, 12 all, 7 minutes gone in the second half. Inside there, 22, a few minutes later. Slippy ball now, out of Glenn Tippett's hands, went forward, said Graham Knox. And the Ayr players, not too certain about that. But even if you're not certain, you keep your big mouth shut, because that's what happens. You get a penalty against you. Right in front of the post, Scott White puts Melrose ahead, 15 points to 12. And that was just what they needed. The next score was going to be so vital, because Melrose now turning the screw, the ball slipping away from Tippett again. Melrose taking the quick throw. Graham Dodds, Scott White, almost to the Ayr line, hauled down by Mark Stewart. This time it's out to the big man, Gary Elder, and in under the posts. And oh boy, you can see how much that meant to the Melrose side. Leaving Scott White the simplest of conversions. 22 points to 12. Ayr coming back into it, though. Great take by Dean Stewart at the front of the line out. Ayr driving this one forward. The rain heaving down now at the Greenyards as Ayr try to get some momentum going. Dean Stewart getting back there, as does Kelly, as does Reid, and over the Melrose 22. Looking for quick ball, AJ McFarlane, out to Currow, into midfield. Mark Bennett, snagged there by Jamie Murray and Cammy Murray. The Murrays in tandem, but the wheels come off a wee bit because they've offended. Graham Knox spotted it, and Ross Currell's penalty brings Ayr back to one converted try away from Melrose. Richard McCallum chipping that one through. Everybody after it. Pat MacArthur, Grant Anderson, but the ball goes dead. 9 minutes left. Scott White, crossfield, John DL, Jamie Murray, pull back Fraser Thompson. Thompson getting away from Andy Dunlop. Hauled down eventually by Paul Butt, but he's still going, and he's still going. Lays it back. Rob Christie, Scott White. Graham Innes on his shoulder. Innes all the way through and popped it up. Great offload there to Ross Miller. The big second row. That is the try that takes the title to the Greenyards. Scott White racks up his 19th point of the game. 29 points to 15. Into injury time. Mark Stewart out to Stephen Manning. Manning's long pass finds Ross Currow. Cuts inside, Fraser Thompson, but it's too little, too late, and he knows it. Consolation there from Andy Dunlop, but right into the final play now. Ross Currow, crossfield kick, collected by Paul Butt, but getting nowhere, taken out by John DL. Ball goes to ground. Jamie Murray gets a boot on it. Graham Knox blows his whistle, and the arms are raised aloft, because that is what it's all about. The Premier One trophy goes to Melrose.
And the results went our way today, which boys are absolutely delighted of. Had a wee bit of incentive from last week as well. Obviously, Ayr beating us up at Murrayfield for the second time, but great credit to them. They came down with a big support today, gave as good as they got, but unfortunately they got beat by Melrose today.
Congratulations to Melrose. It's been a long, hard season. You can tell how much it means to Scott White and his men. This is Ron Evans for Scottish Rugby Television at the Greenyards.